Hello, everyone. Donn here with another episode of Uncle Don's Dhamma. I think it's episode 6 after yesterday's. Here on August 8th, 2026, 8-8, aka the Lionsgate. Do you feel the energy? I feel it. I feel it. Another beautiful summer afternoon here in Central Oregon. The wind has been kind enough to keep the smoke mostly out of the way, despite there being a lot of it out there. Once again, metta, lots of love and good wishes to fire personnel in the area, and of course also up in Washington, all over the West, where we are inundated with fires this summer, especially this second half of summer. So thank you all for all you do. And thank you all, the emergency backup volunteers from other states, for doing your thing as well. So, what to talk about before I go to my friend's birthday party later? Yesterday I made a video for a friend and we talked about the heart of the lion and particularly the wounded heart and the wise heart, transmuting from one to the other and healing our own hearts. It's a little off topic for Dhamma, actually, but it is the season with all of this lion presence, Leo presence, and the upcoming eclipse. I do want to circle back around and talk about, sudden changes and new beginnings and purging the old, letting go. Let go, let go, let go, as I said yesterday from the Dalai Lama himself, my favorite quote of his. And yeah, so moving forward, this is the high watermark of summer, really, Lionsgate. And some consider it a portal, some not. Some just think it's just any other day in August. I don't really have an opinion on the subject. As it pertains to astrology, I'm more vested in the upcoming eclipse as a radical change in consciousness for us in the collective. But I do want to keep talking about the heart, because it's very much up front and a topic in more than one place I've seen lately, and very relevant to me. And this to go along with the Lionsgate, the constellation of Leo, we have the there's a star that makes the heart of the lion. It's called Regulus. My thank you to Reverend Devin, Astrology, here in Bend, the one astrologer I know personally very well, who pointed it out as an ancient star, one of the 4 ancient stars. He's going to correct me on this if he ever hears this, but they form the cross of the original ancient stars in the sky that were first recorded, first studied, implementing the 4 directions onto the sky, and later being the hub of what would become the wheel of the zodiac. Hopefully I got that right, Dev. Anyways, he just dropped that on me, off the cuff, when I mentioned talking about the heart of the lion as a subject one day. And I thought that was really super pertinent, that, or poignant. Here's a star that literally is the heart of the lion in the sky and is ancient. Didn't see that coming. So there's more to the story of the heart of the lion. Anyway, I love talking about the heart right now, and it's just so palpable that collectively we're having a change of heart. And individually, those of us in this spiritual collective, this set, whatever you want to call us, but those of you watching, part of the collective I'm in, those of you listening are for a reason, and our communities respectively in our own circles in where we live, or is another version of the collective, are all experiencing a heart opening, just Shazam, like big time. It's going down. Ready or not, here we go. So I want to talk about the feelings that come along with this, and I talked about anicca yesterday to stay on topic with the Dhamma, impermanence. And the thing about the topic of anicca that I always want to mention is, for me, there's the good side to anicca. It's not supposed to have a good or a bad side, because it is what it is, just like the stars are the stars, and just like the eclipse will happen whether you care or not. But I want to say that there's, for me, it's a little bit of a negative stigma, just a little bit, to say all things are going to die, all things are subject to change, all things have an expiration date, all things will pass, and then in the more immediate moment, all things are rising and passing, and that includes your relationship or what it means, and your relations and your family members and your pets. They're rising and passing, so they're ever changing until the big change, till they leave. And which makes us think of our own mortality when we lose somebody, and I don't want to sit here and talk about all that today on this day. This is a day, for me, I feel it is a day of celebration. I feel a very positive, very sunny, very lion roaring, happy lion, revelry is a word coming to mind today. But so this topic of impermanence, it can seem like not so cheerful, more like a hard truth and a bitter pill. And if you're one of the many people who has lost somebody or more than one person, or is with somebody who's lost someone important or more than one person in this year, the last couple years, it's a major loss or more for in your circle. It's a heartfelt topic, loss, and there's a lot of loss in the 2020s. I have to bring that up. It's very palpable, that there's a lot of people checking out. Just going to put it that way. And my condolences if you are someone who has suffered a recent loss or is watching one unfold, or both. The other side of anicca, though, that I like to point out after talking about the hard stuff is there's a beauty to it. There's a smiley face to it. There's an upshot, as a friend of mine likes to say. There's a silver lining, however you want to put it, of, if everything is subject to change, and so that means, there's no guarantees, and we're all on a ride, and it could be a bit of a roller coaster, and things of this nature. But there's this great part, which means that means the bad times don't have to last either. I just came out of a rough patch. I was feeling really just deflated and not great, and I was fighting it, and that, of course, doesn't help. But, Dhamma practitioner or not, we can just find ourselves in a spinning wheels, as some people like to say. Not being on our game to get out of the suffering, the dukkha, like we'd like to. Sometimes we got our pants covered in the mucky muck and we're in it and we're not getting out anytime soon, and we can't think of a dang thing that's in the name of progress of getting out. And that's just the way it goes. It's called karma, and it's called life on life's terms, But this upshot is that this too shall pass is good news. And, if somebody is telling you they're out of your life, and peace out, see you later, there's a wisdom heart element in there. You can be like, wounded heart, arrow, you're giving me the arrow, are you? Which is a bad move. Or, I'm listening and I'm hearing what you're saying. And maybe you say, but what if? Or maybe you're saying, yeah, I see your point. Okay, I'll see you next time, if there is one. Letting go again, but letting go with love, acceptance, and that wounded heart. It doesn't have to be so loud. If you feel an arrow in there, with this kind of wisdom, you could say it can really quell such these dramas. There's these dramas of life, and that's all they are. You're not going to die if somebody drops out on you. We're not going to die if we have to move or change jobs. We're not going to die if there's a separation from a significant other. The wounded heart just tells us, I think I am. We don't have to listen. And the wisdom heart, I put the wolves up behind me. They're a symbol for me. They do not come from Buddhism, obviously, but the power of the wolf, the power of the wolf pack, and also the power, the power and the solitude of the lone wolf, and the unbridled, the wildness and the beauty of the wildness, and the again, like the lion, you can be ferocious but also tender. You can stand alone but also know you're not alone. You can walk with your head held high and confident, and also be hurting. Some wolf analogies there. And things can suck and you can still wag your tail, So, gratitude. Thanks for the lesson, we can say. Thanks for another day when we wake up instead of woe is me. Is a big deal when we start the day. How does the train leave the station? Somebody told me once. Can't be a train wreck before it leaves the station. So you decide. And the two wolves, fear and love. Who takes over? Who wins? The one you feed. Anonymous saying attributed to natives. The one you feed. So I choose love today. And 8/8/26, which is another 8. These 8s. This day of celebration and my friend's 70th birthday. Hooray. Rita, gonna come see you. This day of revelry that it's going to be, and sunshine, and a portal, if you call it that. nothing but gratitude, nothing but hands in your heart, open heart. Thank you. Thank you for having me alive. Thank you for this gift of life. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for those that are still in my life. Maybe we lost someone, maybe somebody lost us, but the abundance. What about the abundance? What about the beauty? What about the wolf pack? What about our friends? They don't want to see us moping around, right? So I'm going to cut it there. I went over my 15, but I guess it's a holiday. May you all be happy. May you all be peaceful. May you all be free to have a wonderful weekend full of love, full of enjoyment, full of peace and harmony. Take care.